In Belgium, you can stare into the eyes of a vaguely human-looking sheep that represents Jesus and has something to do with the metaverse. This sheep is at the center of a 15th century altarpiece called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamp, located in the St. Bav's Cathedral in Ghent. Earlier this year, I visited Ghent with my partner and my 8-year-old daughter, and we visited the cathedral. They offered a tour based on augmented reality technology. So we received a pair of AR glasses that projected the history of the cathedral and the painting in front of us. We were guided by the ancient bishop of the cathedral, visited the painter's workshop, saw the altarpiece being saved from Protestant iconoclasm by pulling it up high into the tower, saw the painting being stolen by Napoleon's soldiers, returned back, stolen again, now by Nazis, by Hitler's Nazis, and then finally, via mysterious ways, returned back to its home in Ghent. While the technology behind this tour was relatively primitive, I think it was an interesting experience. First of all, it was truly different than a tour based on audio or text. It activated my brain in a different way. I was more focused, more alert. I had more fun, and I remember more from the experience. Furthermore, my daughter and I both had a different experience. She had the junior version with more playful features and simpler explanations. Afterwards, we exchanged what we had seen and learned, and we both had a great time. And while these different experiences were fun and completely okay in this controlled context, if you envision a world in which we use AR devices multiple hours a day, it becomes more disturbing. And that is the future we are heading towards if it depends on companies like Apple and Meta. And that concerns me. My name is Mariëtte van Huijstee, and I'm a research coordinator at the Rathenau Instituut. The Rathenau Instituut is a Dutch independent research organization studying and debating the impact of technology on society. We translate academic insights for a broader audience. We organize dialogues with citizens to hear their view on the impact of technology on society. Then we take the outcomes of these dialogues and bring them to politicians and policymakers. And then these insights we feed back to academia. Doing this, we're building bridges between science, policy, and society. My team focuses on the societal responsibility of technology companies. We've researched the opportunities and risks of VR and AR technology. We studied the characteristics of the internet that incentivize harmful behavior. And now I study the metaverse. I think I can safely say that most of us have benefited greatly from the existence of the internet and social media, and that we cannot imagine living without it. And I think we would also agree that the internet doesn't always bring about the best in people. Someone who would never insult a passerby on the street may feel no problem doing so on Twitter. And a person who would never steal from a local supermarket may feel no inhibition stealing credit card information online. My research shows that certain characteristics of the online environment incentivize harmful behavior. Characteristics like the ease by which you can find like-minded people online, or the rapid, uncontrollable spread of content, which we call virality. These characteristics impact harmful online phenomena like the spread of disinformation, the online shaming, and the adverse impact of social media on the self-esteem of some teenagers. But the internet is not a natural phenomenon. It has been shaped and designed, and it can be remodeled and redesigned. And that is exactly what is happening now. While European policymakers are working hard to fix the current internet, big tech is working on the next big thing, the metaverse. My main message here tonight is that we shouldn't leave the design and development of the metaverse up to the same companies that have messed up the current internet. Instead, we need to develop a public vision on what this metaverse ought to be. So what is this metaverse? Companies and commentators all over the world are developing their vision on our digital environment of the future. It is this vision that I call the metaverse. But it depends on who you ask what this vision looks like. If you ask companies like Epic Games or Microsoft, the metaverse is the next generation of the internet, a 3D virtual environment where we'll be socializing, relaxing, and working. Think Second Life meets Office in 3D. VR technology is an important building block here. VR is able to create an immersive experience where you feel present in a virtual world. Imagine you're standing on a cliff and you look down. You'll be afraid to fall. If you put on a VR headset and you stand in your living room on a flat surface, but you see a cliff projected and you look down, you'll feel exactly the same anxiety. And your brain may remember the experience as real. Research with children in which they had a VR experience swimming with orcas showed that their brain registered the memory as real as any other. For web idealists and activists, the metaverse is an attractive alternative to the big tech-dominated internet. It's a world of highly technical terms such as blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and interoperability. In this vision, users own their own data and organize in autonomous networks, where they trade goods and services like digital houses, digital clothes, and digital artwork. For companies like Meta, formerly Facebook, and Apple, the metaverse is the further integration between the physical and the digital worlds, creating seamless experiences between our devices, the virtual, and the physical. AR is an important building block here. Think Pokemon Go or Snapchat filters combined and multiplied. In this vision, you may walk the street with your friend that is on the other side of the world by projecting him onto your physical environment. Or another example, say you're looking for a rental space in a certain area. You can put on your AR device, walk through the area, and see which rental spaces are available. So, putting this all together, the metaverse is being described as a 3D virtual version of the internet, as an attractive alternative to the current big tech-dominated internet, and as the further integration of the physical and the digital. In some visions, all of these aspects are combined into one. But there are skeptics. There are people that say, this metaverse is just a hype. It's old wine in new bottles. They think people won't want to wear these devices, that people won't like the experience, and that the technology will never be able to support these visions that I just shared with you. These people may be right. But if they're not, or they're only partly right, the impact of the metaverse on our lives and societies will be immense. And that is why we need to anticipate and channel this development into a desirable direction. We've all seen what happened to the internet. What started as a promise of democratization and emancipation has become a highly personalized and commercialized environment. If we search Google for information, we get personalized search results and personalized advertisements. And if we use TikTok or Facebook, we get personalized feeds that confirm and amplify our worldview. While some of us may find that pleasant at the personal level, it has a real impact on our society. Online hate poisons our public debate. Disinformation and conspiracy theories make it increasingly hard to know what's true and what's not. And our government and our economy are increasingly dependent on a small number of tech giants for cloud services, namely Amazon and Microsoft. Many of us have come to realize that the power of online platforms has become too big in our lives, and this is why we see a lot of alternatives pop up and policies and regulations come in to rein in this power. What I'm arguing here is that we shouldn't make this mistake again. From the perspective of the public interest, it would be irresponsible to leave the development of the metaverse entirely up to the market. And I'm not convinced that the policies that are currently being developed are metaverse-proof. I guess at this point, I should clarify that I'm not against the metaverse or the technologies that may build it. I can really see that a certain version of this metaverse can enrich our lives. Let me give you a very personal example. My mother was an artist. She passed away a couple of years back after being ill and in bed for almost 20 years. She was an early adopter of many web-based innovations. She shopped online as soon as it became available, wrote her own blogs, and used dating sites to meet people. If I picture her in a metaverse era, I can see her move around freely in a 3D virtual world. I can see her meet people all over the world. I can see her visit the museums she loved and practice her art. I can thus really see the exciting elements here and the possibilities that a metaverse may bring. But these benefits don't happen automatically. We need more than a small number of tech giants and a large number of tech enthusiasts to realize those benefits. We need citizens, policymakers and politicians to develop a vision on the metaverse that is based on public values. Values like democracy, autonomy, justice, inclusivity, and sustainability. Companies like Meta, Apple, and Microsoft are currently investing billions and billions of dollars into their vision of the metaverse. But the fact that they are deciding on our digital environment of the future deeply concerns me. First of all, I'm worried about even more manipulation. Currently, if we surf the internet or scroll our social media feeds, we get personalized ads and personalized information based on our data. VR and AR devices need a lot more and a lot more personal data. In order to function and to render instant virtual realistic worlds, they need highly personal data such as eye movements, facial expressions, and the environment around the user. This data will provide information about our emotions, our conversations, our friends, family, and our homes. I don't even want to imagine what this type of data can do in incompetent hands or in the hands of a dictator. But we have to think ahead. And recent history shows that our data can be used to incite violence, influence elections, and induce polarization. Some of you may think, but isn't that already the case now with social media? Yes, but what I'm saying is that we may exchange bad for worse instead of better. Secondly, I'm deeply concerned about our shared public space in this future metaverse. If we could all personalize our environment as we see fit, that would even, what would that do with our shared perception of reality? It would complicate democratic decision-making even more than is the case now. Consider if we would walk the street with our AR devices, physical billboards will be replaced by virtual billboards. I see my personalized ads, and you see yours. I can choose to see pink trees, and you can choose to see a blue sky. I can filter out trash from the street, and you can see virtual street art. Our shared public street would look very different for each of us. How would we jointly decide on its maintenance and its safety? But it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is we can still influence this future. We need to decide what metaverse Silicon Valley has to build for us. And therefore, we need to develop a common language to talk about this new future. The social etiquette there, the economic and the legal rules. My hope is to kickstart a public debate about the conditions to create a metaverse based on public values. And if you're interested to participate in such a dialogue, the Rathenau Institute is organizing several sessions over the coming months to co-create a public vision on the metaverse. Now back to the city of Ghent. If I visit Ghent again in 10 years, and I go back to the St. Paul's Cathedral, I hope I can take an amazing AR tour with super cool features, and I can really feel as if I traveled through time. And then when I exit the cathedral and I enter the public square, I hope I see people there that are autonomous and that are supported by the gadgets instead of enslaved. And I hope these people and I will see the same square, trees, and sky. And that the personal ads that we will see on virtual billboards will be based on the data that we ourselves are willing to share. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you in a public values-based metaverse. Thank you.